welcome to Tommy Solo's Famous Friends. This is where I get to chat with people that I've connected with over the years in the world of arts and entertainment, and today I'm very happy to have with me founder and director of the Forest City London Music Awards and Hall of Fame, Mario Circelli. Welcome to the show, Mario.
Hey, Tommy, thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure it is to be talking to you.
Well, it's always a pleasure as well from this end. So I understand, Mario, that there were some pretty big plans for the 2021 Forest City London Music Awards in London. You had a lot on the go with virtual presentation and so on. And I also understand from your interview on Afternoon Drive on the CBC radio this week that there have been some changes. So what's happening? What did you have planned and how's that changed?
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge that it's the awards program's 19th birthday. So the Forest City London Music Awards is legal now across Canada. 19 years we've been doing this. So, last year, because of the lockdown, we did the show completely virtual. It was all Facebook presentations, and rather than ask the audience to try to sit down in front of their computers for 2 hours, we broke it down into 5 chunks. So the jazz, classical, world music was one chunk, and then we had the pop categories broken out to 4 chunks. And it worked really well. We were able to spread it out throughout the week and give people a highlight, and it was a lot of fun. It was worked out really, really well, and we got some huge, huge numbers. This year, we were really hoping to go in and do some sort of live show, like we knew early on, and as a board, we talked about it. Are we going to be able to put 1,100 people in the London Music Hall like we did in 2019? Probably not. Can we do some kind of hybrid where it's maybe a drive-in show at the Mustang Drive-In or, at the Western Fair or something like that? That's what we were hoping to do so that at least we could have live music presentations, so a live concert, and host people, physically distance in their car, and then import during that presentation a whole bunch of pre-produced video. We're still aiming for that, Tommy. We're still aiming and hoping that by June 6th, by the time we head into the London Music Week, that we'll be able to do some kind of live concert presentation, probably outdoor. We realize it won't happen indoor, but probably outdoor and probably drive-in style. So we're looking at a combination of a live music presentation with pre-produced video segments.
Awesome. Now, I don't really want to get into the political end of it, but I will say that in my observations of everything that you have done with the FCLMAs, and especially since the pandemic hit, has been done with extreme care and concern for the health and well-being and safety of all concerned. Last year, for example, when you did the virtual thing with Steve Patterson, a brilliant comedic interaction between the two of you, but you were fully masked. You did the elbow bump. So I just want to congratulate you for always taking care and doing everything that you can to ensure everyone's safety in these things.
Yeah, well, as advocates for the music scene, it's important that the musicians and everyone who works in the music sector be safe. Whether it's the musicians, the promoters, the audio engineers, roadies, et cetera, et cetera. And let's face it, this is a real situation, and I'm fortunate that no one on our board, Tommy, is an anti-masker. Everyone on the board realizes that this is real, that it's serious, and many people have died, and unfortunately more will before we finally put a lid on this thing. So working within the health guidelines right away last year, we started consulting with the local health unit. So we were following provincial guidelines and consulting often with Chris Mackey here and his team and following the health unit guidelines. And that predicated what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And that's what we're doing again this year. We are being aspirational. We're hoping that maybe by June we can have, like last summer, by the middle of the summer, there were some drive-in style concerts. There was one at Purple Hill that went off really well, and of course the bigger one with Brett Kissel at the Western Fair. The Bud Gardens was holding outdoor shows, 100 people outside. So we're being aspirational. We're hoping that that's where we'll be able to land, but we're not going to contravene. We're not going to go against what the health unit recommendations are, for sure.
Right. Now, is that perhaps why there haven't been much in the way of updates on the FCLMA website?
Exactly. That's one reason. And let me give you another example of how quickly things work. In March, we did the FCLMA in conjunction with the Local Musicians Association, which is a great organization. And they really do a lot of great work to help musicians. So we did a special concert presentation called March Madness, and we put four bands, one per week, in the Hall of Fame. We follow protocol, so as soon as you walk in, you have to have your mask on, sanitizing as soon as you enter, signing up, sanitizing frequently. Everyone wore their mask at all time. There's no audience, only the band, an audio engineer, and a television crew of 2, plus myself managing the event. No problem. Went off without a hitch. And we were able to help and pay 4 bands to perform. One of them was Doug Barty, Beatles and Blue. And, it was great to hear from him because he said, Mar, the last time we played was at the London Music Club before the pandemic hit. And our last show was with the London Jazz Sextet, and John Keith was telling us how, his band hasn't performed in well over a year. So we were able to help these musicians. They got paid. The engineer, great guy, Matt Dyer, came in and he got paid. It was fantastic. We were ready. It was such a good event or series that we had committed to doing 5 more through April. Well, just before Easter weekend, the province went into a different code, different area. So that's where we deliberated very closely with the local health unit. Now, I have to admit, too, there's a lot of confusion in how the regulations are handed out to the general public and how they are directed and sliced up. And what I mean by that is, if we were putting the Tommy, just as an example, the Tommy Solo Band in our venue and no audience, everyone masked up, we take temperatures as you come through the door, face mask worn, contact tracing form, sanitizing, you sit up, you play, we make sure everybody is distanced by the required distance. We have a camera crew, 2, 3, 4 camera shoot, whatever we thought was necessary. If we called it, Tommy, a video shoot, music video shoot, under the current guidelines as we are today on Friday, April 9th, we would be good to go. But I could have that same setup. We could have the same setup, Tommy Solo Band, everything that I just described, but it's not a video shoot. We live stream it. Then we fall under music and entertainment, and it's not permitted under the current guideline.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I was paying particular attention to that when you were on with Rob Weatherstone on the CBC the other day. So it's interesting that, we're living in the land of confusion for sure. That said, again, kudos to you and everyone involved on always adhering to and taking the most extreme care with the safety precautions. So before I forget to ask you, what's the timeline for the awards this year?
Oh, good question. So Forest City London Music Week is June 6th to 13th, and we'll have the music show within that week, probably the 13th. The 6th will be the Classical Jazz World Music Awards presentation, and the 13th will be the 12th of the 13th. If we go 100% virtual, it'll be on the 13th. If we go combination of outdoor show and some other ones, then we'll put it on the Saturday night on the 12th so that, people don't have to worry too much about staying out late, that sort of thing. But that's London Music Week, is June 6th to 13th. And Tommy, thank you so much for keying in on the health and safety piece, because last week, that situation that I just spoke about, it was a very difficult case for us. I mean, obviously, the recommendations are confusing. And if we wanted to, we could have pushed it and said, you know what, we're going to just say this is a video production or whatever, and gone ahead and did it. But we consulted closely with the health unit, and we said it's not worth taking the chance, so we're shutting it down. Unfortunately, 5 bands won't get paid. The audio engineer doesn't get paid. The venue's going to lose money because we were paying the venue owner for that, and no one gets to see those great presentations. But I think together the FCLMA with the LMA made the right decision to just, you know what, let's postpone it for now.
Right. Now, I know that we're kind of going away from virtual live presentations as per the current public safety requirements, but I also know that in the last year or so, you've created the DCAC and have been instrumental in helping people get their stuff out there on video and so on. Are you still able to do that with technology remotely now, or what's happening with the Digital Creative Arts Center?
You got great questions, my friend. So we pivoted. We've done so much virtual stuff. So virtual introduction to filmmaking, introduction to audio engineering, graphic design, web layout, all of that stuff. We were, just before last week, we had started to bring people back to the studio, and we were working with this amazing young lady. She is visually impaired, but she plays guitar like you wouldn't believe and writes great songs. Her name is Jessie Ross, and she's been coming in and laying down enough material for a full-length release, and we had started doing co-op placements with St. Thomas Aquinas. Unfortunately, now we're shut down, so we can't have people in the facility. We could do a video shoot in there. So if you want to come in, Tommy, and shoot a video for your next song, we could do that.
Well, I've been reluctant to even leave the house, but I think there's a definite light at the end of the tunnel right now that we have 4 approved vaccines, and with the most recent change where they're allowing certain pharmacies to vaccinate those over 55, I'm waiting for a callback. So I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I really do think that if we all pull together and continue to, please God, adhere to the safety guidelines, as I once again commend you for doing, that we will get to the end, we will see a brighter day, we will get back to live music presentations where, we've got to have learned something from this, and things will be different going forward, but there is definitely a light, and I can see it brightly now.
Yeah, you know what? I appreciate and concur with your optimism. I think if we get through this next month, this month of serious shutdown, and this time they've even shut down, I noticed, even the dollar store, you can only go in and buy foods. Only the food aisles are open, and the same with, Walmart. You can only go in and do the groceries. So maybe the Ford government is finally taking it seriously, but I agree with you. I think there is light. We're going to get through the next 4 or 5 weeks. If we get through the next 4 or 5 weeks and we come out the other end nice and solid, then maybe we can have a nice June, July, and August, or a better June, July, and August. How's that?
I believe this to be true. We just all have to pull together. Absolutely. So
you got it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's about as much of an update as we can give anybody right now on the FCLMAs. And once again, Mario, it's a pleasure, as always, and I do appreciate your taking the time out of your busy day to talk to me. And until next time, cheers.
Take care, Tommy.
Well, there you have it. That's the latest on what's happening with the upcoming Forest City London Music Awards. So if you are either in the London, Ontario area, or southwestern Ontario, or you're just interested in the music scene of southwestern Ontario, don't forget that the Forest City London Music Week runs from June 6th until 13th this year. June 6th to 13th. And that's awesome. And in light of the human struggle that we are all enduring currently, here is the title track from my 2016 album with the Night Crew, Tommy Solo and the Night Crew, Only Human. Enjoy. Tommy Solo's Famous Friends is a one-man production, meaning that I've done all the work, including producing, editing, guest acquisition, etc. All rights reserved. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The theme song for Tommy Solo's Famous Friends was written and recorded by Tommy Solo with a little help from my friends in the night crew. And hey, if you like the show, why not subscribe? Until next time, cheers.